Halloween Ends has finally hit theaters, and this is going to be a spoiler review because I will say that the trailers and the marketing for this movie have misled you. If you haven't seen this movie yet, it is not what you think it is. Okay. This movie has like less than 10 minutes of Michael Myers. And when you make a Halloween movie and it's supposed to be the ending of Michael and Laurie, it's like this movie wasn't even a Halloween movie and it was just a cameo for Michael Myers and it was a completely different franchise film. Like, I just don't understand some of the decisions they made with these characters. Laurie was great. I love her progression. I love her and her granddaughter kind of like trying to live in this town. And then we have this new addition named Corey in the movie. Not our Corey, but Corey in the movie. Or I think Corey's a new cool addition to the story that could add to the Haddonfield like evil persona of the town. But then they take his character in some weird directions. He gets beat up by some bang geeks, and then he becomes Michael Jr. and starts killing people. And it, it didn't really work for me. He acted very well. I just wish he was introduced in an earlier movie, or that this wasn't the finale. I think that's the big thing with me with this. You shouldn't have made this the finale to the Michael Myers 2018 trilogy if you weren't going to have that much Michael Myers.
I agree with that. I do want to say that I did enjoy this movie. Like you said, there's a lot to like about it. I think it had one of the stronger opening scenes of any Halloween movie that I've seen in a while. And so from that moment on, I was pretty invested in this story and Corey as a character. I also agree. I do think Corey is a great not Mikey Jr. Um, I do think Mikey Jr., aka Corey, was a really cool addition to the Haddonfield mythos of how evil that town is and like the kind of blood-soaked history. I guess my only issue with the movie is it didn't feel like Michael Myers was involved in any capacity. He was almost like the ghost of Michael Myers, even though he wasn't, even though he wasn't dead at the time. I guess I just went into expecting at least more than 10 to 15 minutes of Michael's screen time, which might be honestly more like a generous figure I'm throwing out there. I think they were trying to do a lot of things plot wise and never really committed to anything all the way through, which is, I think, where they lost me because I found myself invested. I found myself wanting to continue watching. I was there, but it's just the payoff and seeing these things come to fruition there at the end that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. I agree with it. I think you described it perfectly in saying that this movie wanted to be a lot of different things, and in doing so, wasn't really much of anything, unfortunately.
The trailers build it to where it seems like it's a Laurie and Michael Myers like smoke fest the entire movie, when in reality, like you get that at the very end, and there's hardly any Michael in it. And then the scenes where he is getting kills, they're tag team kills almost. It's almost like he's not really doing the hunting himself. It's like Corey's doing the setup, Corey's doing the hunting, featuring Michael. At a certain point, I thought the movie was going to be longer than it was because Michael really doesn't even come out of the sewer for sure until the end. And so you get to the end of the movie and they're fighting, and then she's pinning him up and all that stuff, and then you're like, wait, is this the end?
Yeah.
Like, is this all? And it's literally just the end of the movie. I just feel like there's a lot of I like the Corey storyline. I like having that extra character in there. I do like how they do team up, which I don't think Michael would team up with anybody, but they're cool scenes. I enjoy the scenes, so it's fine. I'm okay with it. It's cool, but it's like it almost feels like filler because Corey's character amounts to nothing overall. They had a lot going right there. I thought that was kind of cool how they, it seemed like Michael was getting a little supernatural and passing off some of his entity or like his darkness or his evil.
I agree with what you said. It's just they made it out to be like this was the final confrontation between him and Laurie. And I found myself in the theater being like, like, damn, it's been about 45 minutes. Not a lot of Michael going on. I was like, it's not, if I'm not mistaken, it's an hour, 45-minute film. So it's like, we're running out of time.
We're out of time.
Yep. What's going on? It actually turns out that was never the plan. I definitely agree with what you said about Corey, where he essentially amounts to nothing. I mean, they really were positioning him. I love the fucking Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan routine with him and OG Michael, by the way. I mean, I thought it kind of a cheesy idea on the surface, but as it was happening, I was like, okay, like this is pretty hard. And it was almost being framed when he goes in there and he just takes the mask off my boy Mike, bullies him out of the fucking mask. craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. But they were even using that as a means to almost position him to take up a mantle of sorts almost. And for him to just die the way he did, even the implications of Corey's death between Laurie and Allison were kind of shallow when it was all said and done. You know, like his death ultimately meant nothing. And I think that's the difficult part about it, is that you've had us with this guy for 75% of the movie, only for it to not to amount to anything. And the biggest sort of resolution of the plot is Michael dying, when we had no real reason to give a shit about Michael at that stage. With what they've given us in the movie, the only reason we give a shit about Michael is because we know Michael from previous movies. But in this movie, I have no reason to even want Michael Myers to die. Bro wasn't even active.
I think that's the big thing with this movie. Why a lot of people aren't going to like it is because they don't honor the Michael mythos. Like Corey said
Yeah.
earlier, you know, the fact that Michael is willing to team up with somebody, classic Michael would have folded up Corey a long time ago, would have killed him instantly. Instantly. There would
Right.
have been nobody going to step to Michael and him being friends with him. That's just not who
Like,
Michael is.
were we the Hardy Boys? Like, what are we
Eh,
doing right now? It's
Right.
ridiculous. It's
And,
stupid.
and I'll say the ending, it has a good Laurie versus Michael fight scene. It's not as crazy as you think it would be, but it is good. It's a good little fight. And it's actually Laurie getting her little comeuppance with Michael being like, listen, it is what you thought I was going to kill myself, dog. Fucking get out of here. But that's the only part of Michael in this movie that I actually was like, yeah, hell yeah. And the thing is, you can see that all in the trailer. You can watch all the
Yeah.
best parts of this movie in the fucking trailer.
Yeah.
And that's what I can't forgive about this movie. You can't market a movie this way and then expect people to go into it thinking, yes, this is what we came for. Like the trailer is supposed to hype you up and then deliver on that thing. And you marketed the movie to be this epic finale. And then you had less than 10 minutes of Michael in the movie. Even if this was the best movie ever, you still shouldn't market a movie that way with Michael.
I think even the final fight between Laurie and Michael, while it's good, I think it's just visually a well done fight.
I feel like they pushed the Allison and Corey like relationship
Yeah. Yeah.
onto the audience, because there wasn't really a time frame where I believed that she was crazy about him or vice versa or anything like that. I just felt like it was just written, so I believed it. Like
It's like they
there
are,
was
so
no
they are.
yeah, exactly. They are, so they are. So it's like you just go with it, but it's like, and then later, like you were saying, after he dies, it takes like 10 minutes for her to come right back and help Laurie, and it's like,
The ending that they provided was an ending to a Michael Myers movie that did not exist. And it's the one where he's out slaying people the entire night. It's the one where he's been in pursuit of Laurie this entire night. It's the one where we have a real reason for their separation and for Michael's death to mean something more than just, oh, Michael's dead.
With Allison's character, you didn't have to force that relationship on me to believe that she needed to escape Haddonfield. She already has all the trauma of her mom and Michael Myers. She
Right.
has a job with a boss that doesn't give a fuck about her and is
Right.
skipping a promotion for her. She's getting shit on in the diner and by her like ex-boyfriend cop. Like she has plenty of reasons to want to
Yeah.
leave that
Yeah.
isn't Corey also wants to leave. And I guess they tried to frame it that Corey was the only way that she could like think about leaving her grandma. And I will say that they try to lean into Laurie going back into alcoholism once she thinks that she's leaving. Uh, but that also felt kind of weak for me, where it was like, you're telling me after all the shit that Laurie's been through, it takes her granddaughter leaving with this dude to go right back into alcoholism.
Don't think her history with alcoholism was well documented enough for that to even mean a lot to us anyway, dog.
It,
You know what I
it's
I
mean?
it's
didn't.
it's mentioned in Halloween 2018 of like, well, you know, she used to be hard in
Right.
alcohol and then quits,
Yeah.
and then the like her daughter is constantly telling her like something alcoholism, like so
Right.
it's briefly mentioned. But if you didn't watch 2018, you know, right before this, you wouldn't have known that. And I think that's like you said, Dallas. They kind of cut some corners with you. Just they expect you to know all this like pre-built history to give more weight to the movie. And but that's what blows my mind is like if you have all this weight and backstory with Michael that you expect us to lean on, Why not go supernatural with it? And why
Yeah.
introduce Corey and make it where he just dies instantly? Like, you should have never introduced that character. To get into scoring this thing, we didn't hate this movie.
No.
It's not a horrible movie. It's just from a Halloween standpoint, story wise, it's not a good continuation or finale of said story. The kills are good. There's a few really awesome kills that'll stick with
Yeah.
me. You know, even if Michael didn't do the kills specifically, they were very good. Some very gruesome ones, like the DJ specifically of the radio station. That one is the highlight for me. Amazing kill,
Yeah, that was
amazing kill.
gross.
Um, I'm gonna score this movie about a 5 out of 10. It's average. It really leans heavy on the nostalgia and the audience already pre-knowing the Halloween franchise to make this have more weight than it actually does. If you watch this movie and you're kind of iffy on Michael Myers, you might actually like this movie more because you might like the Corey character, and that might not have as much weight with you as someone that really loves Michael Myers in the Halloween franchise. So if you go into this movie and you're kind of like, man, I think you'll enjoy it. If you're going to look for like Michael Myers' last hurrah, gonna kick some ass, go in with some very cautious mindset and just know that this is a very old and injured Michael Myers that gets like his last little kick off with Laurie, and that's really the main thing that's keeping this movie afloat for me is that last like 15 minutes of this movie uh, is the only finale to the whole franchise for me, which I can almost guarantee that they're going to reboot this very soon, or they just shouldn't have killed Corey and had the Halloween franchise continue on with him instead, and they should have leaned into the supernatural.
I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. I think there was a lot to like. The kills were good. I actually was. Again, for me, it's really, 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 really reliant upon the ending. But up until that point, even though there was not a lot of Michael, I was there. I was interested, despite all its flaws. I was curious to see where Corey was going to take it. So I think I enjoyed it up until that point. It's just the ending itself soured it a little bit for me. I think it was shot incredibly well. It was scored really well. I thought the music was fantastic. There's a lot to love about this movie, so I don't want to say that I don't want to make it sound like it's shit because it's definitely not. And it has a "Don't Fear the Reaper" needle drop. So I did say 6 out of 10, but it's actually a 9 by law. But if you go, I honestly think that this is going to be one of the few movies in which maybe reading about, maybe watching a review, preferably this one, watching a review or reading a review would actually serve you well going into it. So you'll have more measured expectations on what to expect. And you wouldn't be wrong for this because this is what the trailer implied. But if you're expecting Michael to just go on the rampage of all rampages, cannot express enough how disappointed you will be. And I think disappointed is a word. I'd love to say pleasantly surprised, but I think disappointed is the word here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 as well. I think it's missing those key elements for the Halloween movies. You know, one, it being Halloween, it didn't really seem very Halloween themed to me. It just seemed like it could have been at any point in the year. It's like they just had pumpkins in windows. Like now it's Halloween.
Yeah.
It was missing that element for me, and also it's missing a lot of Michael. But I give it a 6. I really like Corey's character. I wish they would have did more, and had him in the beginning as the innocent kid, and then have him turning evil, kind of sort of behind the scenes to where only Laurie's noticing, and then the kid's dad from the beginning, and then him maybe becoming like the next Michael, or however they would have. I think them trying to spin that a certain way and having it being more supernatural, like you were saying earlier, Cole, would have been a better ending to the movie rather than getting rid of both Corey and Michael, because they're gonna do more Michael movies.
If this is the Mike we're fighting in the tier list, dog, he's fucking out of here. He's out here. We're actually moving it up to a dick slap.
Have you seen Halloween Ends yet? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you made it this far, go ahead and hit us with a like. It really helps us out here. If you want to go see this movie just for the Michael part at the very end, it's satisfying enough to warrant, but I will say you should probably catch it on streaming. I don't know if I would pay full price movie theater ticket to go watch this movie. unless you're going with like a group of friends, or you're going to go and have a good time with a bunch of people. And if you're new to the Dork Side and you want to watch our tier list video, we have a whole horror movie survivability of all your favorite horror movie icons right here. We actually fight Michael in this video, and we tell you how we would fold his ass up. And this movie just confirms that we would beat the fuck out of Michael. So if you're interested in hearing what we have to say about that, go ahead and click right here. Until the next time, guys, peace.